au Festival d'Avignon.
Hello and welcome to Avignon, where we're at the 76th Annual Theatre Festival. And if stories shape our lives, the ones being performed here show just how diverse our world is. Starting in the prestigious courtyard of the Palais des Papes, where dissident Russian artist Kirill Serebrennikov is showing his adaptation of a Chekhov short story, The Black Monk, where characters go in search of the truth amid delusions, madness, and multiple viewpoints. And current affairs and politics obviously seep into some of the shows here. This year, the war in Ukraine has prompted a special show towards the end of the festival, with director Olivier P. inviting Kiev's Dak Daughters troupe to perform alongside him in his drag persona, his alter ego Miss Knife, on stage.
Et même si les programmations évidemment étaient closes quand la guerre s'est déclarée, malgré tout, le festival ne pouvait pas ne pas faire un geste de solidarité avec l'Ukraine.
And who better to kick off the festival than an artist whose work takes in painting, video and performance. Kubra Khademi, thank you so much for joining us. Now, your latest piece, your performance piece here at Avignon, is called From Armour to Jackets, and I know that garment, the jacket, is very important in that piece. Can you explain why?
I think about this work after last year, when American and NATO troops pulled out from Afghanistan. I saw a lot of images that from like Kabul airport, where the troops, after leaving, they just left their belongings. Bag, boots, jackets, uniform. Well, maybe it's the beginning of this direction that I'm going in my work, to see war from its source, the weapon. I'm using it as in art material now. And through my performance, I was sewing. My needle that goes, it's an end, the point, it's just a dot that is putting on this pile, on this material. I sewed them all together.
You designed the poster for this year's Avignon Theatre Festival. It involves 6 women, a depiction of 6 female bodies. It's a very striking image. Can you explain to us the main idea you wanted to convey there?
This poster is part of a series. It was not made only for that, but when it was chosen, I was happy. This is what I do through my entire visual work. I celebrate the bodies. When I'm making work, when I'm making drawing, sometimes numbers come by themselves. My sister saw it eventually, and she said that, we're 6 girls at home. We're 6 sisters. And I said, I didn't choose for that, but it's just coming by itself.
Kubra, you're based in Europe now, but since you left your native Afghanistan, the situation there has changed quite dramatically. Watching those scenes of the Taliban takeover last summer, how did that feel, watching it from afar? To be honest, I had this fear the year before, because this peace talk was taking too long and it was going nowhere. I mean, robbery by Taliban, killing, torture, cutting hand, killing whoever they don't like, whoever is not Taliban, is happening every single day there. Of course, no school, since almost 11 months in that country, and medical, care. Children die for simple disease, no food. It's like, we lost a lot of death, a lot of lives since Kabul fell. And when you were still living in Afghanistan, you did a performance piece called Armour in 2015, which saw you walking through the streets of Kabul wearing a specially designed piece of armour that emphasised certain parts of your body. Now, that performance was so controversial, it was shut down after just a few minutes. What do you think was so problematic about it for those people at that time?
Taliban terrorism ideology is different to patriarchy. It's 2 different things. Patriarchy kills or
oppress women as much as they can. In Afghanistan case, it's been always extreme. But we women, Afghan women, we were still struggling to continue and take our right as much as we can. At that time is something that even I myself had the conscious of being mocked. This piece was problematic for the men who think, be outside, but in certain amount of liberty, not too much. Do not ask a lot of liberty. But right now is like absolute elimination of women. No women, even not men who is not Taliban, no children.
Theatre can be a home of sorts for artists in exile who find a sense of belonging in language, stories and gesture. Iranian director Amir Reza Koustani has set his latest piece of drama in a particularly liminal space, an airport waiting lounge. And choreographer ADELE DUPORTAL has blended feminism and sorcery in her recent one-woman show. Our reporter Natasha Mineret went to meet them both.
23-year-old Adele is one of the dancers at this year's Avignon festival. Titled Sorcière, the performance is an ode to freedom and sisterhood, exploring the representation of women throughout history and the controversial figure of the witch. Her poetic dance solo is an homage to the witches of today and yesterday.
When we think witches, we often think them dancing with the devil. But today there is also the idea, which is quite present in feminism, of women in the public space, women who reclaim their bodies. The female body is too often beaten, raped and killed. So it's about how women take back their body and say, I can stand alone, and how to live experiences through my body, through my female body.
Habiter des choses avec mon corps et mettre en avant mon corps de femme.
The shackled and repressed body is also a running theme in the documentary play In Transit, which explores the plight of exiles and the place of refugees today. Acclaimed Iranian director Amir Reza Koustani stages an adaptation of a namesake novel by German writer Anas Segers, informed by his own experience of being detained at Munich airport in 2018 due to visa problems before being deported back to Iran.
A few weeks before the incident, I had a premiere in Munich concerning, also about immigrants. And then when I found myself in this detention center of Munich airport, I started wondering that, to whom I'm working, for whom I'm working and telling the stories about immigrants when a day after the premiere I should leave because I don't have a visa.
We often say freedom, but what does it actually mean to be free? Here, it means to enjoy free movement without justifying oneself.
Free to move across borders and free to live through one's body. True to its reputation, the Avignon Festival takes on the burning themes that merit a reflection.
Kubra, as someone who's lived between two different cultures, you've said that half of your heart is in Kabul and half in New York, where from the first time you visited, you felt a real sense of belonging. Can you explain what that city means to you and why you felt so welcome there?
First day I arrived, it was snowing, and I saw, because in Kabul it snows heavily as well, and I haven't seen it in Europe. So I thought that maybe it's because of snow, but when it was like snow melt, but I was still feeling the same. It was very inspiring to be there. New York is not United States, as I really felt it. I used to hear it before, but this time I see it for real. Seeing these faces from all over the world, I was thinking I'm part of it very, very quickly.
A recent project of yours pays tribute to the women who've suffered at the hands of the Taliban. That's called Les Héroines, or Heroines, in its English translation. Can you explain a little bit more about the women who inspired this project and how important the setting of it is?
I make this work after seeing that, how women are resisting there. And I compare it historically in Afghanistan, that whom we recognize. Like there is Allée du Commandant Massoud in Paris. I mean, come on. We should recognize today who are raising their voices and asking for the peace, for education, and they are taking the maximum risks of their lives. L'attitude contemporaine in Lille and la condition publique in Roubaix, we named 11 streets to 11 of them right now, but we are naming hundreds. Because these people, Afghans, are trapped in this country right now with no weapon in your hand, but you're looking right in the eyes of the Taliban. No one can be braver than them in the Afghanistan history. No one.
An exhibition of your most recent pieces is on show at the Fondation Lambert in Avignon, and I noticed that you yourself, your image, features in many of those pieces. Can you tell us about the role you play in those pieces of work?
One part is a collaboration between my collaborator, Daniel Petro, who is an American artist, and myself, in which we picked the cliche and then from Afghanistan point of view of United States and United States of Afghanistan, and that relation is a political relation. We show that through a love relationship or romantic relationship. So it is a series of photos, also a film. The politics of producing war arms, the weapon, was something that I looked up. I looked up more profoundly. So that's why I draw the light arm. For example, in Afghanistan, last time in the United States won the war against Russia, when they went out, every light arm remained. And after that, we were killing ourselves.
An event like the Avignon Theatre Festival includes an enormous scope of different performance styles, classical theatre, experimental dance. What are the sort of shows that attract you the most? What are you excited about seeing?
Well, what I am looking particularly, I am someone who is interested on, that can be any form of art, any medium, theatre, film, visual art, anything that, where is today's issues inside of those works? Art should interfere. Artists must be aware. Artists must have their eyes open.
Kubra Khademi, thank you so much for joining us today. And a reminder that Kubra Khademi's work is on show at the Fondation Lambert in Avignon until the end of the month. Now we'll wrap up with another female-fronted performance. The Sacrifice comes from South African choreographer Dada Masilo, and she dips into Botswanan traditions to ask important questions about ancestry, humanity, and the need for reinvention. We'll leave you with a clip. Otherwise, you can get more arts and culture, of course, next time back in Paris, here on France 24.